Whoa, 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 what's up, Gump? And what's up, freaks? Today, we're only working on the green car. I don't got much of an update on the red car. The valves are ordered, the head's at the machine shop, so we're waiting for that to go. But until then, we're gonna do everything we can to get this puppy back on the road and getting the daggum thing to the ice cream store with the wife. Are you ready, Gump? Let's go!
To some losses through the process had me furious, but I got eyes on the vision, can't get delirious. Fall in love with the game and then you marry it. I think I married it. This the anthem. If you reckon with it, put your hands up. Yeah, this the anthem. If you get up and get it, put your hands up.
All right, y'all. I have fallen prey to seeing things online and wanting to try them out. This is one of them. Some of the videos I seen were unbelievable on like hitches and and engine blocks and stuff like that. So the instructions simply say hose it off, and then this claims 10 to 15 seconds. Ten to 15 seconds, that's nothing. Maybe that was an unfair assessment because it's so rusty. All right, I have here oil pumps. 100,000 mile OEM grime right there. I don't exactly remember the mileage on this, but you know. I overall wasn't that impressed on the oil pan, though I could see some spots where it was trying to do something, I guess. So I feel like in my heart of hearts, this was about as good of a cheater piece as it was going to get. All in all, I don't find myself ever to be super impressed with any of these hacks, of lack of a better term, but what do I know? All right, I gotta be honest, that Moxie acid might have done some work that made it easier to get this stuff off that I just couldn't see in the moment. I mean, this is after I wire wheeled it. I did it with a grinder and a drill. So like, it turned out pretty good. I knew going into things I was gonna be using this front case and this oil pump. I knew we were going to be taking the balance shafts out, but I wanted a fresh surface for the fresh gasket, and even when I don't buy new parts, I want them to look as new as possible, so when I get the engine back together, I'll be able to track leaks or, see mistakes. It'll just be easier to see if something's going on. Introducing to you a piece of hardware that is 175 and 0 against me. The screw on the oil pump. It don't matter if it's a rebuild engine, it doesn't matter if it's an OEM engine, I cannot get the screw out without screwing up the screw head. So I always end up getting out the old bit extractor set, and I do get it out, so I mean, technically I guess I win. Luckily I knew this was going to be a problem before I started this process, and I had an extra screw ready to go. After being on the struggle bus of trying to get that screw out, it finally happened, like I said, and now I'm able to pop the oil pump off, and I do a visual inspection just to make sure everything is good, and then I'm going to put the balance shaft stubby in here when it's all said and done. This is as good as this rusty piece of crap's gonna get. It's pretty bad, and I just honestly don't want to deal with it. Got a pretty good chunk of it, but it's always gonna be there, so we'll handle that later. All right, we're at that point. Engine is ready to get assembled. Started laying some stuff out. Just got to get out the torque wrench and get some of the bolts for some of the stuff, and I think we're good to go. So feeling pretty good about that. Gumpy just ate all the barn cat food. I saw a barn cat take off over here somewhere. Cool story. Oh, there's barn cat right there. And Gumpy and I are about to go for a swim real quick, and then we'll come back and get this thing back together. Now comes the relatively enjoyable part. Everything's clean. You're starting from scratch. I genuinely enjoy this. Just take your time, assemble it properly, check the manual for torque spec specifications, make sure you're putting bolts where they're supposed to go, because yes, there are different lengths. This is why I baggy everything. This is why sometimes I get out the old cardboard trick. Make sure you lube up the front seal while you're sliding it on the crank, just so it goes on without folding over. Again, just take your time. Check the stuff in the book. Double check your own work. And make sure you put these bolts where they go. And yes, they do have different torque specs again, so just keep double checking yourself. But again, it's clean work, so I actually enjoy it. After the front case is buttoned up, now you put the oil filter housing on. And again, all these bolts don't get torqued until it's all on as one unit. So just keep double checking the book and making sure you're doing all of that properly. Make sure you're putting the right length bolts in there so that they're getting the proper thread attachment. Again, barn cats doing what barn cats do. Double checking my work, taking off, playing. After all that's torqued to spec, now we're going to put on the oil pump pulley. After that, we'll come up here to the water pump. Again, it's the same thing. There are different length bolts. Just make sure you're putting them in the right spots. And then we got to put the alternator bracket on the front bolt. I'll do that after I get it snugged up, but don't forget to put that on. Otherwise, it's just a pain in the butt later. Now I'm kind of just bouncing around putting things on as they dry or as they're cleaned up. So the oil pan was next for me. Now I'm going to throw some things on the crank. First thing is the balance shaft pulley, then the crank sensor trigger, and then the timing belt pulley. While getting this together, I instantly realized my ARP lube was missing. So I knew the head wasn't going to be going on, so I jump over to the transmission from here. Now with this band, it has an arrow on it, so make sure you follow the direction of the arrow. It's supposed to be facing outwards on the transmission. While doing everything, you also want to obviously make sure it's as clean as possible. As far as these clutch packs, same thing. The manual will show you exactly how to do it, but when I take everything apart, I take it apart in an order that I can just put it back together the way it was taken apart. The only difference is I clean the crap out of it in between, and I've been soaking the clutches in transmission fluid before I install them. Prior to this moment, I have no experience putting a transmission back together, but I'm just figuring it out as I go. I want to make sure everything fits. I'm trying to test out the O-rings. I want to make sure nothing's getting snagged up. I don't want to make any dumb mistakes. So I just take my absolute time, and like I keep saying over and over, I double check myself, and I make sure everything is as clean as possible. Like I said, this is my first time assembling a transmission, So I wasn't quite sure if there was some super easy trick to get everything to line up and just dial it in, but I didn't have it. So, like probably most of you will if you're trying this for your first time, I just figured it out. I put it in there, I made it wiggle around until it felt like it was seated. It took a couple tries, but I eventually got it, and I feel pretty good about it until... So before I get this pump all the way back out, I always try to be as transparent as possible, and I just found this on the table after I thought I had the transmission all assembled. I know right where it goes. I was pulling it in and out. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I was just kind of feeling things, shimmying, making sure the clutches were all lined up, and yeah, so I needed more practice. So I'm getting it. Fun. So inside the pump, there's 2 threaded holes on either side. Now, I've heard this happening to people before, but I go to get the pump out and it breaks one of the lobes where my bolt that holds the pump in has to go. To make it even more fun, I know that's not all the metal that's missing, and I don't know where it's at. And here's the ring that I don't know where it goes, and I thought it was going to be on the back side of this, but that's there. And it's not even the same size, so it's probably not from the one that I had as a spare. So now I got some digging to do. Great. So boom, that's all the progress for today's video. Is that detrimental, that piece breaking? Honestly, I don't know if it would leak or not leak if there's enough threads, but I don't want to risk it. I'm not in a big hurry to make this get together. Yes, the sooner the better, but I'm not in a rush. I'm willing to push, but not rush. To me, there's always a difference. So I'd like to take this in, have Dave weld it up real quick, and then it'll be squared away and I don't have to worry about it leaking. We did get ARP lube, so I'll be able to start getting the engine back together. So again, we are making progress. We're always learning. That's what growth is all about. I'm trying to learn everything I can. I want to be self-sufficient. If you guys would have any recommendations on how to do things different, I'm always open. Please leave it in the comments below. But how's your projects going? You guys out there grinding on them? Because what? Gumpy said if you're not, they're not getting done, so get out there. And also, like always, I'd recommend you be just like Gumpy is with his ball. And get out there. Get outside your daggum comfort zones. Feed dreams and start fears, y'all.